What if I told you that the reason you feel everything so deeply isn't a flaw in your design, but the very thing you were built for? Stay with me, because what Carl Jung discovered about purpose and the human psyche will completely transform how you understand your place in this world. Carl Jung said that the most meaningful lives are not lived by those who avoid suffering, but by those who are called to transmute it. And nowhere is this calling more evident than in the empath. You see, people look at empaths and see fragility. They see someone who cries too easily, who cares too much, who feels too deeply for a world that rewards emotional detachment. But Jung's research uncovered something that will stop you in your tracks. What looks like a burden is actually a blueprint. And the mission it points to is something most people will never be equipped to carry. Here's what Jung understood about empaths that the rest of the world still hasn't figured out. According to Carl Jung, there exists within the collective unconscious a set of archetypal roles that certain individuals are psychologically predisposed to fulfill. He called these the archetypal callings, patterns so deep they predate language, culture, even individual memory. And here's where it gets extraordinary. Jung observed that certain individuals are born with what he termed heightened psychic permeability, a nervous system that doesn't filter the world the way most people's does. They absorb, they register, they feel the emotional temperature of every room they enter, every person they encounter, every unspoken tension that hangs in the air. Most psychology dismisses this as hypersensitivity, but Jung saw something radically different. He recognized it as equipment, not a malfunction, but a specification. The empath isn't broken. They're built for a task that requires exactly this level of perception. But what is that task? Listen carefully, because this is where everything shifts. Carl Jung spent decades studying what he called the wounded healer archetype, and what he discovered about it will absolutely shake your understanding of why empaths suffer the way they do. Jung said that the wounded healer is not someone who heals despite their wounds. They heal because of them. The suffering is not incidental, it's initiatory. Every betrayal, every heartbreak, every moment of being misunderstood doesn't just happen to the empath. It happens for them. It's preparation. It's training for the mission they were chosen to carry. And here's what most people completely miss. The empath's life mission is not to fix the world. It's far more specific and far more powerful than that. According to Jung's theory of individuation, the empath's true purpose is to serve as what he called a bridge between the conscious and the unconscious. They are the individuals who can access emotional territories that most people have walled off entirely. Grief that others suppress, shame that others bury, fear that others medicate into silence. The empath walks directly into these spaces, not because they choose to, but because they're the only ones who can survive there long enough to bring something back. And what they bring back, Jung discovered, is transformation. Not just for themselves, but for everyone around them. But here's the part that will send chills through your entire body. Carl Jung observed a pattern so consistent, he considered it a psychological law. He called it the principle of necessary descent. Before someone can guide others out of darkness, they must first descend into it themselves, not theoretically, not intellectually, completely. This is why empaths don't get easy lives. This is why they attract narcissists, endure betrayal, experience isolation that would break most people. Jung understood that none of this is random. It's a curriculum. Every wound teaches them to navigate a specific kind of human pain. Every manipulation teaches them to recognize a specific kind of deception. Every abandonment teaches them to survive a specific kind of loss. And here's what will absolutely blow your mind. Jung discovered that once the empath has completed this descent, once they've survived the full catalogue of human suffering, something activates within them that he called the healer's emergence. They don't just recover from their pain, they become capable of holding space for pain that doesn't belong to them without being destroyed by it. This is the mission, not to absorb the world's suffering, but to witness it, understand it, and reflect back to people the truth they're too afraid to see on their own. But here's where Jung's research takes a turn that redefines everything. According to Carl Jung, the greatest psychological gifts are almost always disguised as afflictions. He called this the paradox of the called, the reality that those who carry the deepest purpose often experience the most intense resistance from the world around them. Think about this. The empath is told they're too sensitive, too emotional, too intense. They're told to toughen up, to stop overthinking, to stop feeling so much, and for years, maybe decades, they believe it. They internalize the world's rejection of their depth as evidence that something is wrong with them. But Jung saw through this completely. He understood that the world doesn't reject empaths because they're flawed. It rejects them because their very existence exposes what everyone else is suppressing. The empath walks into a room and the room feels seen. And for people who have built their entire identity on hiding, being seen is the most terrifying experience imaginable. This is why empaths are ostracized. This is why they're scapegoated. This is why narcissists target them with such precision, not because empaths are weak, but because their presence alone threatens the architecture of denial that most people depend on to function. And when the empath finally understands this, when they stop internalizing the rejection and start recognizing it for what it is, that's when Jung said the mission truly begins. Carl Jung called it the moment of vocation, the point in someone's life when they stop asking why they suffer and start understanding what their suffering was preparing them for. For the empath, this moment is nothing short of revolutionary. They stop trying to be normal. They stop apologizing for their intensity. They stop dimming their perception to make others comfortable. And they step into what Jung termed their archetypal function, the role that was encoded in their psyche before they ever took their first breath. The awakened empath becomes what Jung described as a living mirror. They reflect truth. They hold space for transformation. They sit with people in the darkest chapters of their lives and, simply by being present, remind them that darkness is survivable. They don't do this through advice. They don't do it through fixing. They do it through what Jung called the ministry of presence, the radical act of being fully, completely, unflinchingly there. And here's what makes this mission so extraordinary. No one else can do it. Intellectuals can analyze pain. Therapists can categorize it. Philosophers can debate its meaning. But only the empath can feel it alongside you. Only they can enter the wound with you and sit there without flinching until the wound begins to speak its own truth. Carl Jung said that the world will always need those who can feel what others refuse to, not as victims, not as emotional sponges, but as translators between the seen and the unseen, between what people project and what they actually carry, between the mask and the face beneath it. This is the life mission only empaths were chosen for. Not because they're special in some romantic, idealized way, but because they were forged in a specific kind of fire that equipped them for a specific kind of work. The work of witnessing, the work of truth, the work of standing in the gap between human pain and human healing, and refusing to look away. And once the empath understands this, once they stop seeing their sensitivity as something to survive, and start recognizing it as something to wield, they become what Jung called the most essential force in any community. Not the loudest, not the most visible, but the one without whom the entire emotional ecosystem collapses. That is not weakness, that is a calling. And according to everything Carl Jung spent his lifetime studying, it is the most sacred mission the human psyche can carry.